The first 100k is a bitch, but you gotta do it. I don't care what you have to do, if it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on 100k. That is something that most of us are not willing to do, and to be honest, maybe we don't have to. Instead of spending your valuable time thinking about saving $1 every day in your groceries, you should start focusing on what really matters. The big three. The big three expenses, meaning housing, transportation, and food, take over half of the average household's budget. If you really want to start saving money for whatever reason, whether you want to make the first 100k as quickly as possible, travel around the world, or just save some extra cash in case something happens, you should start with these three largest expenses in life. Sure, it's great if you stop buying the $2 coffee every morning, but let's be honest, that is only $700 a year. You probably spend 3 times that on housing, transportation, and food in just a month. Let's take a closer look at the biggest one of the three costs, housing. In 2020, housing cost for about 35% of the average person's budget. To make this more clear, let me show you some numbers. The average expenditures in 2020 were $61,334, and the housing costs were $21,409, meaning that on average the housing costs were 34.9%. If you are saving $2 a day from not purchasing coffee on your way to work, that is $730 a year. While that is a lot of money, it is only 1.1% of annual expenses, which is close to nothing compared to 34.9%. Of course, it's great to save that $730 per year too, but don't start with your smallest expenses, start with the biggest ones, then you can start worrying about the smaller ones. So how can you start saving money on your housing? There are a couple of ways you can do that. Consider selling your home and moving to a cheaper area or even to a cheaper country. This can save you thousands every year, but if moving across the country to save 2% of your income is not on your bucket list, let's move on to some easier ways to cut the costs. Instead of living in a house like this, maybe consider living in a house like this for a couple of years. Lower rent or mortgage payments, less management costs, less repairment costs, more money saved. There is a rule of thumb to save at least 1% of your home's purchase price for ongoing repair costs every year. Speaking of thumbs, if you're finding this video useful, make sure to hit the like button for the lovely YouTube algorithm. Thanks! So if your house costs $400,000, you should save $4,000 every year for just maintenance, meaning over $333 per month. The older the house is, the more maintenance it usually requires, and vice versa. There are also other costs of owning a house, like property taxes, insurance, utilities, and so on, that people tend to overlook when they think about the cost of housing. These all also cost thousands every year, so remember to look for better deals to save more money on these. If you don't want to move at all, consider getting a roommate, or rent all the rooms that you are not using. You might even make enough money to pay off your mortgage, making the housing cost a lot smaller percentage of your annual budget. Personally, I can stand the idea of living with a roommate, but there is one way that you can still make use of your extra rooms: Airbnb. You could rent your extra rooms every now and then to make even some extra cash. Just stop renting when you feel like you need a break from guests. Let's say that out of all of these tips, you decide to Airbnb one room of your house 10 times a month. The average Airbnb price of one room is $84 a night. This would mean that you are saving $840 a month and over $10,000 a year. Now your housing cost would only be $11,329, using only 18.5% of the average annual budget. Great! Now that we have dealt with the housing costs, let's move on to the next one, transportation, which takes around 16% of the average person's annual budget. Luckily, it is a lot easier to cut than the housing costs, because no matter where you live, you will have to spend a lot of money on housing. Cutting the transportation costs is pretty straightforward. Instead of buying nicer and newer cars, prefer older, smaller, and fuel-efficient cars. If you are rarely using your car, sell it and skip all the insurance, tax, maintenance, and fuel costs. Switch to a bike, walk, or use public transportation. This isn't of course possible for everyone, because not all of us are able to use a bike to get to our job, for example. But maybe you can share a car with someone so both of you can save money. Thanks to COVID, working from home has become a lot more common thing these days, so if that is an option for you, consider it. This can already save you thousands of dollars, and you don't even have to feel the pressure of your boss every day. Whatever you decide to do, Remember that buying a brand new car is a certain way to lose money. The moment you drive it off from the car dealer, you can say goodbye to thousands of dollars. By the way, have you heard that quote at the start of the video before? I have talked in another video about how important it is to get your first 100k as fast as possible, because it is almost as hard to make that first 100k as it is to make $1 million after that. But more about that later in the video. Let's take a look at the third thing that can help us get our first 100k faster. We all need to eat, but do we really have to spend 12% of our annual budget on food? That is over $7,300 per year and over $600 a month in just food. Around $200 per month is spent on food away from home, which leads us to the first way of saving money on food: cook it by yourself. These days, it's easier than ever to just use your phone to order food from restaurants to your door when you are feeling too lazy to cook. Personally, this is something that COVID made me struggle with. Using the food delivery services became almost a weekly thing for me. I was looking at my order history one night and realized that over the past 2 years, I have spent over $3,000 on restaurant foods, but I haven't even visited a restaurant in 2 years. I challenge you to also track how much money you are really spending on services like that. It might really shock you. If you do, let me know in the comments. So what I plan to do in the future is not completely avoid using all the services available and never visit restaurants again, but instead I will use them every now and then to reward myself. Instead of being lazy and not making food because I can just order it, I aim to cook by myself and go to restaurants around once a month when I have something to celebrate about. Overall, that is the simplest way to reduce the amount of money you spend on food: cook your own food. If you are already cooking your own food and think you are still spending too much money on groceries, there are a couple of tips that you can try to use. Never go shopping when you are hungry, and always take a shopping list with you. When you are hungry, you will make all kinds of random purchases, and when you don't have a shopping list, you end up forgetting something, or you buy something extra just in case because you are not sure whether or not you already have it. One obvious but important thing is to focus on the prices. If 1 pound costs $10 and 2 pounds cost $18, buy 2 pounds. Like the quote at the start hinted, not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon. Use coupons for your purchases. These days most grocery shops have apps that give you discounts. Use them when you are making your shopping list. When you are thinking about what you should eat next week, take a look at what is for sale, and that's it, there is your next week's meal. So those are the 3 big expenses that can take even up to 70% of your income if you don't start focusing on them. But with the right actions, you can save even tens of thousands annually, which will boost your savings rate. As mentioned in the video, getting your first 100k is very important because it will boost your future earnings dramatically. In fact, your first 100k will take you 13 years and the next one will take only 6 years. From 900k to 1 million, it will take you only 1 year. So if you're really hesitating about whether or not you should even save more money annually, make sure to check the video on the top left corner and get your road to $1 million started. Thanks for watching the video, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this that can help you improve your personal finances. Have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye.